ध्यानम्। नमस्कारः सर्वेभ्यः स्वागतं करोमि। अद्य 92 चर्चावेदिकायां सर्वेभ्यः स्वागतं करोमि। अद्य मुख्य वक्ता डॉक्टर SKM शास्त्री महोदय आह्वानं करोमि। नमस्कारः महोदय। अद्य विषयमस्ति Causation of diseases by Professor Dr. SKM Sastry. प्रथमम् आरम्भं कुर्मः। चर्चा वेदिकायां प्रार्थना अस्माकं उपाध्यक्षा डॉक्टर श्रीमती विशालाक्ष्मी महोदयम् आह्वयामि प्रार्थनां कर्तुं। महोदये स्वागतं, प्रार्थना करोतु इति।
शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ओम श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। ओम प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु। ओम श्री महासरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान्मा प्रमदः। ओम मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्य देवो भव अतिथि देवो भव। ओम सदाशिव समारंभां व्यास शंकर मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परम्पराम्। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः।
धन्यवादः महोदय। अद्य वक्ता परिचयं करोमि। सर्वेभ्यः स्वागतं कृत्वा वक्ता परिचयं करोमि। स्वागतं महोदय। डॉक्टर कृष्णमूर्ति महोदयं स्वागतं करोमि। कृष्णमूर्ति शास्त्री महोदयं। सः होमियोपति प्रोफेशन् होमियोपति डॉक्टर अस्ति। MBS होमियोपति, MD होमियोपति पञ्चाशत् वर्षाणि अनुभवम् अस्ति। तत्र 14 वर्षाणि अनुभवं मेडिकल कॉलेज होमियोपति मेडिकल कॉलेज हॉस्पिटल चंडीगढ़ and Dev's Homeo Medical College Hyderabad. तदनन्तरं पञ्चविंशतिः वर्षाणि पर्यन्तं असिस्टेंट चीफ मेडिकल ऑफिसर एनटीपीसी हॉस्पिटल सः को एग्जामिनर रूपेण कार्यं कृतवान्। काउंसिल ऑफ होमियोपैथी चंडीगढ़ कर्नाटक, काउंसिल ऑफ होमियोपैथी यूपी, होमियोपैथिक मेडिकल कॉलेज इंस्पेक्टर। सः बहुधा पत्राणि लिखितवान्, पुस्तकानि लिखितवान्, परन्तु ते सर्वे मुद्रणं कर्तुं आवश्यकमस्ति। History of medicine, homeopathic nomenclature, interaction between man and environment, study of material medica, miasmology, fundamental causation of diseases, cancer homeopathic approach, homeopathy in preventive medicine, ordosphere, homeopathy in industrial medicine, health awareness songs, Telugu, Swasya Kudumbam Telugu, and family health program Karupena vi Bahavaha Kuteha Kutavantaha, editor of Swasya Jyoti NTPC Medical Bulletin, First Aid, CPR, AIDS, Stress Management for Industrial Executives, Know Thyself, Anatomy and Physiology of Human Body, Occupational Disease Homeo Treatment, Doordarshan Saptagiri programs, Seasonal Disorders Homeopathy Treatment, Rainy Season, Joint Pains Homeopathy Homeo Treatment, Joint Pains Homeo Treatment, Homeopathy for Common Ailments, and social responsible rupena, free medical services to poor, conducting health awareness on common diseases, first aid, smoking, alcoholism, AIDS and seasonal diseases in social gatherings, schools and in medias. On all these places, he has given free services and spreading about the homeopathic treatment as the best alternative system of medicine. Publication of homeopathic articles in Chaitanyam Telugu Monthly magazine for the last 4 years, chaitanyam.net. Contribution of Homeo articles in Homeo Today. And his address is, he is running a clinic in Mangapuram Colony, Housing Board Colony, Mangapuram Housing Board Colony, Maulali, Hyderabad. Clinic नाम अस्ति Sastry Homeopathy. प्रतिदिनं सायं षड्वादनतः 8वादनपर्यन्तम् इति ब्रीफ रूपेण अहं परिचयं करोमि। अहम् आह्वयामि डॉक्टर शास्त्री महोदयं तस्य भाषणं करोतु इति।
धन्यवादः।
नमस्कारः।
धन्यवादः। नमस्कारः।
नमस्कारः, स्वागतं।
मातृदेवो भव, पितृदेवो भव, आचार्यदेवो भव, अतिथिदेवो भव। शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। Today is a great pleasure for me to introduce myself to you, and as well the important topic, causation of disease for all people, including non-doctors. And it's a great pleasure, in fact, to say causation of disease, how the diseases have come up, what are the diseases, why we call it as a disease and all that. And it's a very interesting topic we have to study, and that we are going to read it today. And I'm going to present a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation to make it more clear and more understandable. And this is Hario. Today, this is a dynamic causation of disease. And it's a humble presentation for a noble cause. It's a noble cause to know, everybody should know what are the diseases, how the diseases are caused, why disease is so much important, why it should be given so much importance. For that, we are taking how to change it here. Now, the causation is also called as etiology. Knowing about the cause. Cause means etiology. The etiology means what is the background behind it, how it has started, what is the basis for it. Now, this is when we understand about it, study of the factors that disturb the ease. Ease means high gondatamo. Are we in a very high state or healthy state? That happiness and having harmony in our body. When harmony is there everywhere in our body, we feel a sort of highness, and that highness is called as the easiness. That ease, when it is disturbed, when we add dis to that, then it becomes disease. Means any discomfort. Comfort is nothing but high. Discomfort, when it is a little disturbed, this is called as a disease. And what exactly we need to know, a human being, as human being, we want to be away from this disease or the functions when it is disturbed, or the dysfunction of the body or discomfort of the body. When we are away from it, it is now the origin and existence and disappearance of living organisms is a big question. Yet to find accurate answer. I mean, as such, how this disturbance is to be removed from all people, it is very, very difficult. We all know, as learned people, that there are a number of problems to each and every one. And as such, to know about the base, we have to go to the very origin of disease itself. Then only we will be able to understand how the disease are caused. And during the particularly the life is there, and our main purpose of life is nothing but to live. To live is our the main purpose, and to survive for the life, we have number of challenges we have to face also. And these number of challenges, whenever we have to face, the challenge may be difficult challenges or maybe easy challenges. Easily we can get onto them, and when we get them in at ease, there will be no problem at all. When they are in problematic, then there will be some disease like this. And man has been trying his level best to find out the various causes and treatment, because whenever he suffers, he wants to be away from the suffering. So it is not that only man is suffering, and it all living beings from the time of life, existence itself. The life faces some problem. Life wants to find out. You will find even in animals also. If they find some problem, immediately they try to get some medicine for themselves. And particularly, you see Mungisa, when it somehow kills the snake, then the poison sometimes it may hurt, and it goes to the forest, and then it finds out the leaves to antidote to the poisons. And in this, we have learned, I mean, if you see dogs and cats in the surroundings, whenever some disorder is in the stomach, they go outside and they eat some grass, and then they vomit out. Means it is nothing but they are trying to heal themselves by finding out some treatment, particularly the grass. Generally, grass is not into cats or dogs. But whenever they feel some discomfort, immediately they go and they try to take and they try to vomit themselves, and then they are healed. And then the comfort takes place. So this is how even animals also, they try their best. And that's why from the very beginning of the life itself, the problems are there and the problems are to be solved. And when we go to this, whether are we really able to get rid of from all the problems? It's a great question, and it needs to be answered. And if once it is answered, perhaps there may be no need for any medicine at all. In this man, in the early stages of life or in the early stages of medicine, they, particularly in the long ago, they used to think that only demons and all spiritual things are causing disease. And as some people, they started exploring the thing. Exploring is okay. Once they started exploiting the nature, then he has failed to cure those diseases, and instead the diseases have started increasing. That's why he had been not successful in it. Then going to the next phase, nowadays if we find, now man is giving high profile to the physical aspects of the detail disease than the spiritual. So here what is happening? Yeah, this bacteria is causing disease. Bacteria is causing disease. Everybody is having me in my throat. There is some staphylococcus. Almost every person has got some bacteria inside. Why this bacteria is not affecting all the people? Why only few? Because of lack of immunity, lack of resistance. The people are suffering from disease. So that resistance, when we consider, and whereas there is no answer for the resistance, there is no medicine for the resistance, there is no medicine specifically for immunity in the modern systems, and we will find them. That's why he is not able to succeed even in this also, in this attempt also. So now he causes for happiness and all this. When we go to the very beginning of the disease, when we start, first it started as a myth, and that myth is a wrong concept. And afterwards, they understood it in a different way. And even this physical aspects, giving X-ray to cure the cancer, it is not cured. Only they may kill and the operations and all these things, they might help to certain extent only, but cure purpose, when the real man who is suffering from disease is different from what apparent is. That's why I have named it as a dynamic disease. Dynamic diseases are different from surgical disease. Surgical disease means suppose somebody has fallen and there is an injury, there is a fracture, no medicine works there unless you do some surgical work. That's why in those cases, surgery is needed, and surgery has to be done. It has to be dressed, and it has to be properly dressed, and proper medicine has to be given to that. And when we go to the dynamic disease, that disease that come from inside because of the lack of resistance, lack of immunity, that immunity levels have to be improved. The resistance has to be improved. And for this, going to the very concept of the origin of the disease, when we go, that we have to go to the even Vedic times, how the disease have started. Disease means, to say very frankly, the person who has taken birth is a diseased one. The person who has not taken birth is not diseased. Yes, the person is only one is Paramatma. Paramatma himself is the perfect healthy human being, perfect healthy. And whereas who have all taken birth, they are all due to the Trigunas, all in combinations of Satvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika combinations. And with these combinations only, all these, we know there are three colors in the universe. There are only three important things we have to remember. In this, one is Sastry, another is Sthiti, third one is Laya. Sastry is creation, and Sthiti is sustenance, and Laya is again two types. One is dissolving itself into the Maya, or destruction itself. These are the three important factors, they happen so. And these three only, they lead to total disease factor. To know about the disease, that particular factor only, now it is essential for us to know the Vedic concept of creation and universe. Because the creation of universe itself is a disease. Means the first and foremost, long ago, in some 3 lakh billions of years ago, and some yugas, as per our Hindu calendar, there are 4 yugas. In the beginning of the pralaya, and there was nothing at all. From nothing, there was nothing existing at all. And whether there was anything existing or not existing also is not known. From that period, all things have started, means once the creation has started, it means once it has started expanding its purview, it means the diseases are also expanding. Means all this nature is nothing but the exploration of this. We will find this in our Veda, particularly Nasadiya Sukta, Purusha Sukta, and Hiranyagarbha Sukta. These things are mentioned very, very well. They are very well versed conditions are in slokas are there in Nasadiya Sukta, Purusha Sukta, and Hiranyagarbha Sukta. And whereas these suktas are followed even by our NASA people, and people have gone for in Big Bang theory. The Big Bang theory is nothing but the concept which has been evolved from our side. They say gods and all these things, but they do not name it as gods. They name it as some helium, hydrogen, and so on, so on, so air and gases and all that. So let us think. Let us, I'll briefly go to that Nasadev Sukta, which has clearly mentioned about the origin and the development of universe and the creation, how the creation has come up. This is nothing but the Avirbhava of Prakriti, the Nasadev Sukta. It is well mentioned, and it is found in Rigveda in 10th mandala, and you will find as the 29th Sukta as Nasadev Sukta. And here this was perceived, or this Nasadev Sukta was noted by Rishi Prajapati Parameshti, and the Daivam was Paramatma himself. And Paramatma himself conceived it. And the Prajapati Parameshti, he has gone, during those days, rishis, sages have seen all these things with their internal spiritual and divine eyes. That divine vision has come to the extent. But whereas now NASA people, they also gone. They created such an atmosphere which was there about 380 billion years ago, the atmosphere, and then they started creating the, we'll see immediately after this how it was there in a briefly. Now the slokas in this, na asat asino, na asat asino means nothing was existing. Sat na sat asin. Now, sat is not neither existing nor asat is existing. It's neither bhavam is existing nor abhavam was existing during those days. Na asid, tadanim. That time, at that particular point of time, when that particular time was there, when the beginning of the universe, when it had to take place, there was no asat, there was no sat. Means there was no existence, neither existence was there, nor non-existence was there. And also, when it was not, no bhavam was there, no abhavam was there during those days. And na asit rajo. This raja was also not existing. Raja, when we call it as, this is lokam, this particularly is called as raja. And also we say, raja means a small dhuli or particles also we say. The rajam, we say, is nothing but particles. The particles means which afterwards the particles have come like stars and all other things. Rajo gunam or the gunam, these three gunas are there. These gunatitam. That particular time, it was gunatita time, it was dehatita time, that was kalatita time, that was avastha trayat, avastha atita time. And in that, only some unknown, that Vyoma was also not, Vyoma, the Akasha was also not existing during those days. And Paroyat, Param Brahma, or the Ishvara, who is there, yet in the first thing, they talked about only Varnatmakam. The first line is only talking about Varnatmakam. Then he goes to the second line, when it is the Kim Avarevaha. Kim, what is avering? which is occupying, which is covering everything. And kuha kasya sarma nabaha kim asit gahanam kaphiram means which is covering and where it is there and which is there and Sarman here, there are several interpretations about Sarman. Sarman, some people say, is nothing but prasantata. And particularly those who are known and Anubhavam, Anubhavam is also called as the Sarman. Particularly in Brahmin community, Sharma is also given a name and additionally Sarma, they put it because they are in Prasanta Mudu and they are almost near to the God and all. And here in this also, indirectly it says about those who know about it, and it was very prasannam during those days of that Arandi, this Ambaha, again, some people have some concept about it. Ambaha means it's nothing but water. The water which we consider today H2O is not that water that was existing during the days. The water that was considered as the total cosmic water, we can call. This is not exactly the real H2O water, which we are considering it as during those days. The water which is here it is mentioned, Ambaha means it is nothing but the cosmic water which was present throughout. But here only on earth we find the water that is there. But whereas according to this, it was this complete universe was covered by only Ambaha. Kim Asid Gahanam. Again, he is talking about this Gahanam Gabhiram. This particular thing, it was that water, that cosmic water. It was found very in deep, very, very deep, which cannot be measured by means. It is always, it is throughout that was present. Whether it was present or not also is a very question. Nobody has seen it, but what covered, where, and whose. These are all the questions, and these questions are not perfectly answered, but they are put as questions, but the questions remain as questions, but they only logically they are derived to this extent. Then going to the second, when there was no such thing and there no particle was existing, no living thing was existing, we cannot expect them to have any death or death or this thing. So Namruchu Asit, there was no death at all during those days. There was no Amrutam. If death is there and to protect it, some Amrutam was necessary, and that Amrutam was also not Tarhi. Tarhi means that particular time. Again, as we said in the first step, Tadanim, here we call it Tarhi, that particular time, Naratriya Haham. No night is present, no day was present during those days. And even if they are present, it was not distinguishable. We cannot distinguish the night or day because the time was such. Anidavatam, again taking air. This is what air. Air also is not that air which we are breathing. Without air, Swadhaya means self. Without taking air itself, they living Tadekam. Tasmad Dhanyana Parakim Chanta. Only that Parabrahma, that Paramatma, which was not known, but living without taking the breath, air, and without wind and all that, and by his own, and he was existing during that particular time. And now going to the third, when it was not like that, the Mrityu, again he is talking about Tam Asit, means no darkness was there. Tamasa Gruha, it is again a very big thing. There is neither darkness, and that darkness again was covered by another darkness. Means the darkness is covered by a deep darkness, That darkness we call Gadandhakaram. We means that is wrapped by another darkness. That darkness is called as Godham Agre. Godham Agre means the higher level. It was wrapped by that darkness. Gadandhakaram, Karachikati, and all these things. We also say Peluchikati. That was, really, it was very difficult to define what kind of darkness it was there, with no distinguishing sign. Again, whether it was like that or not also was not perfectly known. The life force that was covered with emptiness, that was emptiness only, again, during that time it was found. And this was also because it was also not properly known whether, and only the heat was produced from there, and that heat he talks about in the third. And fourth, this is a very, very important aspect of this sloka, which is it Kamasthadagre. This is important, all these stanzas. This is the first Kama. Kama means the desire. Without desire, nothing exists. Means Kama, it takes a very upper hand, and this, because of this only, this manas, the mind, it started vibrating. The manas has started vibrating. Pratham Yadasit. For the first time, the mind has started the desire. That's why whenever we call it as, if anything is the desire is the main cause of all desires. Korikale dukkam karanamu. We all say so. And if this desire is not there, that prakampana would not have been there, and there would not have been expansion of the universe. There should not have been done. So the first disease, it is a seed. That's why he says it is a seed of the disease. This rataha, manaso rataha. This is the first seed of the disease. And if this seed is, desire is the first seed of all disease. If this desire, that's why whenever we say you cut down your desires and desires, then you are becoming all Trigunatita, all Astatita, and all these things. You get beyond all these things, and almost God invites you when you cut all this. And this Prathamam, that was the Prathamam one, the Pratham first seed, it was that seed, that primal seed, it is also called as. That primal seed is called. That's why what I am talking about, this is today, is nothing but that primal disease seed has grown to this extent now. That desired seed, once it was sown during those days, that sown disease, that seed has grown as a big tree, and these trees are nothing but all this universe which has expanded to this extent, and having all these troubles. The sages seeking in their heart with the wisdom found bond of existence and non-existence. Then they started understanding existence and non-existence. They are coming to limelight from that time onwards. Tirachino vitato rasmiresha maha. Then it started extending. The card was extended to a great extent, great below and above, and we find all the lokas, 7 lokas above and 7 lokas below, and all 14 lokas have formed during the days, and the seed places and the powers. There was impulse beneath. This is nothing but an impulse. Because of the impulse, all these things have come, and they are above and below. They started growing. Then again he starts questioning. Who really knows? Who will hear placate? I mean, these are true. There are things he has seen, but who really knows? Who has seen that? None. Who will proclaim it? Who can determinedly say that, yes, I have done it? None. And hence, was it produced? When it was produced, this was also not known. When this creation has come up, this was also not known. The gods came afterwards, because all devatas were created by them. You will see how first Mahashakti are having that Shakti, from Shakti, Vishnumurti, then from there, from the Nabhi of Vishnu, Brahma, and from then the Sadashiva and all things. You come afterwards, all these, even Vishnu also may not have known all these things like that, it is said. The gods came afterwards with the creation of the universe. Who then knows whence it has arisen? Who knows it? And because nobody was there. Like Iyam Vishrusti Abhubhava, and when the creation was arisen, nobody knows. Perhaps it formed itself, perhaps it did not. Again, in all question marks, he is ending up in the seventh stanza. The one who looks down on it in the highest heaven only knows, because only Paramatma knows. And also he also says, whether he knows, perhaps he may not know. This is how in Sukta it is mentioned. And we also find in our Bhagavad Gita, in our in the second Sankhya Yoga, you will find this particular Dhayato Vishayan Pulsa Sangaste Shupajayate. You will find in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. First, the very thought, the thought itself, Jayata Vishayan Pulsa, is some thought will arise in the mind. As soon as it comes, they will start, okay, let me have it. A sort of desire will start. It also, he talks about this desire only. Sangasta upashayate, sangasteshu upajayate kamaha. From sangasteshu, when he gets attached to the word or the particular thing, then kama, that desire will come. When this kama is not completely satisfied, then it will lead to krodha, and from krodha again it will come to sammoha. I mean, విపరీతమైనటువంటి attraction, కామము, దాని సమ్మోహం ఏర్పడుతుంది. If that sammoham is also not satisfied, then smriti vipramaha, the smriti gets disturbed, and then that when smriti disturbs, buddhi gets vinasha, and once buddhi gets vinasha, then it is pranati. Means there is nothing destruction of himself. The complete man gets destroyed because of the same kama, that desire. So everything comes to anybody, only desire is the main thing, whether it is about Vedas or in our Bhagavad Gita or various pictures. And these are all the various lokas which we have discussed about it. And these are the lower 7 lokas, these are the upper 7 lokas. These things we have discussed. And again, first Mahashakti, and from there, the Vishnu and Brahma and Shiva. And here I wanted to tell this thing. First, when we started this lecture, we talked about there are 3 important factors. One is creation, then sustenance, and fourth and third one is destruction. For these 3 things, 3 persons are required. And Mahashakti has created these 3, Adi Parashakti, one Vishnu to maintain sustenance, and Brahma to create, and Shiva is to destruct or to dissolve. So you find in the universe, whatever is there, they are found only in these 3 things. Or even if you take mind, thought comes, that is Srishti. Then it is sustained for some time. Then it gets dissolved or it destroyed. Means we may forget that, or it will be there, it will lodge inside somewhere. And again, whenever an opportunity comes to come, then again that thought will come out. Unlike that anger, whatever anger is there, again anger also takes same shape. Anger, it has it arises, it will be there for some time, then it will dissolve itself, it will die itself, or it will come up again. And like that, all the things are having, again, this creation is considered as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. They are meant for this particular jobs, to create, to sustain, to dissolve. And when these things are, again here, from here onwards, these are perfect healthy things. So everybody has to take birth. When we take birth, we live for some time, then we die. And in the same way, the thoughts also, they live there. Here God factor comes. God means generation, G Brahmadeva, and operator is Vishnu, and the third one is dissolver is Shiva. So GOD, G means generation, operation, dissolver or destroyer. GOD, this is the God factor. This God factor only, even NASA people also have started knowing, naming it as God factor. And this God factor, what we consider that for every disease, all these things are there. And once these normal factors of creation and operation, or this sustenance is considered as the operation, and the dissolve is again is nothing but the third laya. So Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, these three things are there for each and every aspect of life. Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, if they are perverted, they become disease. And all trigunas, what we came, and then we discuss about this just when we're talking about desire, and you will find Adam and Eve story. Once God has created two people like Adam and Eve, and they were advised not to take an apple. A beautiful garden was there. In that, an apple, they specifically said not to eat. But the devil force which has come, and it started continuously telling them God has told something nonsense, and it is very sweety and very tasty. You can relish that fruit, go and have it. Then these people have gone and they bit that, and the moment they bit means it is a desire. That desire, when it came up, and then they bit the fruit, then they started getting okay, this fruit is very good, God is bad, and devil is good. And then they started encouraging this particular thing. They started all abnormal things they started, and the procreation, the people have started, and the complete Sastry has started according to the concept of Adam and Eve we consider. And only to know about it to have told. And again, we are talking about Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory also, we see almost the same type of things. Just in 1927 itself, it was known. And you will find in the first time, all gases long, long away, in about 3 lakhs 80 38 millions years ago, there was some gases and they created. And with that, the small, it was not known, or subatom, and even 1 by 16,000 particles, less than even a subatom. At that point of time, there was nothing at all. From there, all of a sudden, it has started some bloating. That inflation has started. That inflation has started slowly and slowly. And I mean, when it came up, then all of a sudden it has come to a maximum stage where that hot Big Bang has taken place. There, all particles have come up. These particles again they became stars, and these stars again the galaxies and all this. This Big Bang theory. This also they assumed it as our sages have assumed this creation theory. They also assumed like that. It's only to know our system was copied by NASA people, or they have also, the scientists also ultimately decide that only this is the kind of thing, and nothing else should be the place where it can be known. And like this, now we are going to our original topic, the causation. In the causation, we are told these are the causation factors. One is the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. These three are the factors to cause all the disease. Whatever disease that are existing today in the universe, they are found within these three only. That's why when we say Trigunatmaka, Trigunatita, when we say Trigunatita, means there is only merging with the God itself. Means he does not have any disease. The meaning of it is nothing but Trigunatita means he doesn't have disease. And when Triguna, when we are attributing, it means there are diseases. The disease also again, Satvika disease is there, Rajasika disease is there, and Tamasika disease is there. There are three. The Satvika Vishnu is considered as Devata for it. Tamasika is nothing but Shiva, and Rajasika is nothing but Brahma. And here, this is Satvika, you see it on the slide. It's in Bhagavad Gita, Sattva, we understand what is Sattva Guna, what is Tamasa Guna, Rajasa Guna, and most of our literature, it is very clearly mentioned about it. And wherever Sattva is there, is Vishnu who takes care of it. I mean, the Tamasa, it means Layakaraka, is Shiva, and Rajasa, the Brahma. And this is also Vata, Pitta, Kapha. These are again three. Here, when again there are three things. When it is a normal condition or abnormal condition. These three things should be present in every individual. Sattva, Rajasa, Tamasa will be there in every individual, but in a balanced condition. When this balance is disturbed, when equilibrium is disturbed, then the disturbed equilibrium is nothing but disease. And how proportionally these are disturbed is again, we are all there. How many diseases are there in the world when we say as many as living beings are? We are all suffering because of Sattva, Tamasa, Guna, and we have three important basic colors to change all. These are the RBG colors, red, blue, green. When these red, blue, green colors, they are combined with different proportions, you will find different colors. And in the same way, when we, these three colors are there, these Sattva and Tamas and Rajasa, these three gunas are also just like these RBG colors only, when they are combined in different proportions. So we are all differently arranged in different proportions. We are there. We are all out because of some proportion. I am there. Because of some proportion, you are there. And like that, these RBG, Sattva, Tamas, and these things. So we are not perfectly healthy, but we are diseased, and we have to see ourselves how much tamasic we are, how much sattvic we are, how much rajasic we are, and we have to evaluate ourselves, and then we have to, if we going through these things, the best one is the sattva guna, and try to let us all proceed towards the sattva guna to get this. But only one important thing I want to tell you here is nothing but except in India, except in our Hindu mata, Sattva, Rajas, Tama, they are perfectly mentioned about, and whereas in all other they are not that much perfectly known as we have known about it. And wherever we find in the world, we find Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they are also if balanced. Means they, by Nadi Parisha, in Ayurvedic doctors, they come to know how balanced the person is, and how Vata, Kapha, and Pitta, these are there. And if these proportions are properly understood, the treatment also will be based on that, and medicines will be given to that. And going to homeopathy, we consider it as miasms are the main. Ayurveda they call it as Tridosha theory, and homeopathy we consider them as miasms. There are almost similar. Sattva-guna, whatever Sattva-guna is there, in Vata also, almost the same features are there. But in more diseased form it is there. But in Sattva-guna, it is more polite. And here we consider it as some disease, some more problems with it. And whereas in miasms, in Sora, syphilis, psychosis in homeopathy, and whereas in Arabic countries, they consider it as temperaments. Temperaments like sanguine temperament. Sanguine means Vata. What we consider Vata is nothing but sanguine temperament according to them. And phlegmatic and melancholic. Phlegmatic means there is sorrowfulness and melancholy, and such things are there in the, again, Arabic people, they are considered. And choleric is the psychosis we consider. And Pitta Ayurveda people say, and Rajasa Guna they say. And a carbonate, it is according to concept of Graugal is there, and oxygenide and hydrogenide, they are also just like similar. Means almost features. I mean, here I'm not going through all the features because it is a very lengthy. Each and every Sattva means itself it takes about more than hours of time, and Tamasa Guna, Rajasa Guna, every has its own time, has causation. We all know some of the characters of it. Almost prime characters of all these things are present only in these factors. And if these three facts, particularly generation, or if generation is normal and proliferation is the uh, disease, proliferation, generation. Generation is normal. And when it goes to proliferation, it means if only we normal beings, we go to certain extent. But whereas in other cadets, the multiply, the cancers, the growths, and all these things, they multiply like they can. And we see the Rajasa Guna that one. Rajasa Guna means what is the Rajasa Guna of it? Satvika is very Saumya. He is a person, very Saumya, very smooth person, very saintly person, very nice person, and like that. Whereas when we go to Rajasika, he is very strong and Lord does this just like a Lord. He goes and ahankaram is more prevalent in Rajasiguna. With ahankara means all cells in the body also, they also project themselves in the same ahankara. This ahankara projection itself is called as disease. Means it is not that only his mind is ahankaram, his body cell, every cell of the body is also having that particular ahankara. This ahankara is causing the disturbance in the body, the functions of the body. These functions will lead to destruction of the cells, and these destructions are proliferated like anything. These will cause cancers, tumors, and so many diseases. And that's why creation, the creator Brahma creator has got 4 heads. The means is nothing but the proliferation of the head, the generation of the heads. And whereas Vishnu and Shiva, they do not have it. So such things we can correlate. Samanvaya Parthotsa with a name. Then we understand these things. We say nothing but proliferation is means warts and tumors and all these things are there. They are due to Rajasika Guna. Then if you see universe, let us see this universe. Earth in a plane surface, when we consider it as it is nothing but Sora. When we consider it as mountains, means bulging. The bulging, it is like a tumor in the body. In our body, the tumor means a bulge up in the body. In the same way, on the earth also, we will find some bulgings will be there. That bulging is nothing but the psychotic manifestation. And in the same way, pits are there. In the pits, and when the pits are there and the wells are there, and those wells are nothing but the ulceration of the body. So in we say these phlegmatic condition, the kapha condition, in kapha condition also we find that. So the syphilitic conditions or the pitta condition is nothing but the proliferation of it, and pitta is nothing but ulceration of it. Vata is nothing but normal condition, but slightly functionally they are disturbed. The functional disturbance are to be corrected. These things are to be understood. It takes time to understand those things because it's we are having only short time. Just I am giving you introduction about these things, and if we start analyzing each and everything, and suppose anger is there. Anger has got 3 features. One is sattvic nature, another one is tamasic nature, third one is tamasic nature. Sattvic nature, he has got anger. That anger will be only to help the other fellow, he gets anger. And that also, it is not from within his body. Only to make him known, the anger is projected as if he is angry. Really, he is not angry. And whereas, when you go to Rajasik, and because of this ahankaram, he says, nobody else can beat me. And that kind of ahankaram and that ahankaram you will find in Rajasik. Whereas in Tamasik, he is a very dull fellow. And because he is not properly recognized, he gets anger. And that's why you'll find some of the people who are immature, who are not up to the mark, you get anger. That's why you're finding that there are three figures here on the dial, on the screen. One is Satvik. Satvik is nothing but a very pious, pious man, pious girl. And whereas Tamasic, a weeping and having only the night, only darkness. He likes darkness. That means all ulcerations will be there with him. And whereas Rajasic, he is a Rajasic, he's very, he backside their lordship and all these things are there. And also, he projects himself that he is Lord and he doesn't care anybody. And he wants that he should be recognized than anybody else. And whereas a Sattvic person, okay, he doesn't give more importance to all these worldly recognitions. And whereas a Tamasic person, he doesn't know how to get recognized and feels as if he is not recognized. This is how we have to, we have to evaluate each and every person. And how we know in our Puranas, Rajasic is nothing but Ravana, Ramayana, and Satvik is nothing but Viveshana, and Tamasic is nothing but Kumbhakarna. Means the way he sleeps, the way he gets anger is only under the growth is not to that extent of others. And where Rajasic has got overgrowth and he has got normal growth. He has got undergrowth, he has got overgrowth, and he has got normal growth. These are the things, these are the three things. These are the only three things we will find even in the earth, even in our thoughts, in our every aspect, even in our body, even in our life. That's why anybody may be having ulcers, maybe having tumors, maybe having this thing. And all these things are present. I am giving it in a picture form so that people will understand it in a more clear way. And this is how. These three gunas are called Sattva guna, goodness, calmness, harmonious. Rajas guna, passion, activity, and movement. Tamas guna, ignorance, inertia, and laziness. And Sattva guna is mentally very heavy, and they respect gurus. There is non-violence, kindness is there, silent in their demeanor, and self-controlled people, and they are meditative. And if you go to Rajas guna people are, they drive very fashion, desire in them, and ahankaram is more prevalent in them, which may subsequently lead to greed, activity, taking part with restlessness and so on. And Tamas guna is ignorant. He doesn't know anything because he's very slow in understanding. You tell 100 times, he will not follow. I can give some example. When I was working in Chandigarh as a doctor, as a professor, then I was at home, and my director has sent a peon. He happened to be Bahadur. He sent Bahadur to me, and he asked me, go and ask Dr. Sastry. During those days, there were no telephones even. That's why he had to send a messenger to call me. He sent that messenger. He came to me, and he came to my. He was sent. Then I was going to the college at that particular time. I was on the way. He saw me on the way. Then he got down. Then he got down from cycle, and he said, "Namaste, doctor." Okay, I said. Then he said again he has gone himself, and I have gone to college. Then this fellow has gone to my home. Then he has seen, and he is found locked. And again he came back. Then he said, "Doctor Sahab, ghar mein nahi hai." Me, because he was whatever was first told to him, only their fixed idea. In the fixed idea, only the first information, whatever he was given, that was there. He went there and he saw, and again he come back. He came back, and I was there in between. He would have told me there itself, the director is calling you, but he did not tell me. He had to go to my house to call me. And it means whatever had been registered that stuck to his mind, he did not do anything what was ordered. So such kind of fixed ideas were there. And these fixed ideas, they are not properly changed. They are very lazy. They get angry also because of laziness. If you say he is lazy, he is very angry. He is depressed, always melancholic, depressive, hysteric manifestations, all these things are there. You will find in this. And he finds guilty himself. And he self-doubt, he boredom, irritation. I mean, this Tamas Guna, all these things are there. And of course, this is that's why when we in brief, in a table form, when we understand this thing, where there is a proliferation of disease, that is all caused by Rajas Guna. When the upward flow is there, only the plane surface is there. The plane surface, if it is there, it is called as Sattva Guna. When there is a destruction or ulceration is there, it is called as Tamas Guna. And whereas the Rajasic Guna is more clever, and whereas Sattva Guna is intelligent. There is a difference between intelligence and clever. Clever and cunning. And Rajasic Guna is clever and cunning. Clever cunning means is intelligence plus some cunningness. When these two things are mixed, it becomes clever. That cleverness we'll find in Rajasa people. And whereas in the intelligent Sattva people, you do not find that cunningness. And whereas the Tamas people, they do not understand. So forgetting so there is no point telling them anything because of the ignorance. That's why they don't understand the things. Again, people particularly they like nights only. Only they live, they happen, they love in the nights and all that. And whereas he wants to be always in passion and craving are all, yeah, I should be recognized. I am Lord, I am King, I should be recognized. That Rajasa Guna is more prevalent in them. And whereas this Sattvic Guna, he is interested about only knowledge and attachment, nothing else than that. And whereas the person is ignorant about all these things, but at the same time, he also has a feeling that he is not properly recognized. And this is how these conditions are there in, of course, mentioning about all. And other than that, in sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholic, these features. And here, all these things, the modern science do not give more importance to these things, unfortunately. And if they give importance to this, and if they also give high profile to this, they understand the nature of the man, if they understand the diseases of the man in psychological and physiological factors, they also understand, then the pathological factors matter very little. So apart from this, all pathological conditions, they are all there, and the disease, we are concerned with the dynamic disease and about the, because some people have told, okay, somebody is suffering from tumor. So if you remove tumor, the disease is cured. It is not so. Why it is not so? Because the tumor is not itself is a disease. Tumor is nothing but the tendency of that man to grow tumors. I'll tell you one simple example. That one mango tree is there. Mango tree has got the tendency to grow mangoes. Only by plucking away the mangoes or by cutting away the mangoes, we cannot say that we have cured the mangoes. Mangoes will not grow afterwards. In the same way, this particular tendency, this body, this particular human being has got the tendency to grow mango fruits or what. And by cutting them, you cannot say that he is cured. We have to cure the very tendency of growing the tumors in the individual. And for that, there are good medicines in homeopathy. We find, we come across many cases and we give medicines to heal them. And so this is a simply, psychosis is nothing but generation. Generation is normal, proliferation is abnormal. And God factor I'm talking about. Operation is normal, and Vishnumurti is only the operation. And whereas the functional disturbance in the body, there is burning the abdomen and some. You will find that particular thing is called as a sora. And syphilis is nothing, dissolution or destruction. Dissolution means merging himself to the Lord. or destruction means he himself is getting distracted to take birth again. Those who have got the proliferation functions and destruction in abnormal conditions, they die and take birth, they die and take birth. And whereas the persons who are in the natural order of this sattva, rajasika, tamasa, understanding them, and then they are molding themselves to sattva perfectly, they become healthy. And this is how we have to basically understand these things. These are the key points we have to understand about this. And these are only again repeated. And Vata also have got the same features as we have found in Raja. There is the Swara, and Kapha has got so the same features as we find in the syphilis, or I can say Tamasa Guna. And you also will find in Pitta or the psychosis, same feelings as we find in the Rajasa Guna. And these are how the all disease manifestations are can be studied. I mean, the psychosis which has got jealous, anger, irritability, rage, and all that, which we have studied in our Rajasa Guna, and all these things are found here also. This is how. Then, whereas other temperaments as a nervous temperament, bilious temperament, sanguine temperament, these are also so related to our sanguine. Nervous is nothing but the vata, and bilious is nothing but pitta. Sanguine is again swara, and phlegmatic is nothing but the syphilis. And this is how whereas in China, yin yang, there are two things because of this all diseases they are coming up from them from their point of view. And there that is one is male one, another one is female. It is only male and female when these two factors they emerge. So one, the external factors and internal factors. These internal factors and external factors, they are properly understood. If they are corrected, the disease will be treated. They go for only these two things like acupuncture and acupressure and all these things they adopt. So, and in other places, the Bezin's constitutions in various places of the world, I'm talking about it, the scrofulous, gouty, syphilitic, carbonic constitutions like that, and phosphoric constitution, chloric constitution, and all these things again, they merge into only a particular thing. It's nothing but our satvika, rajasika, tamasika guna. Within this, all these things will travel, and this is how that disease will grow in our body. And this is all that Om Tat Sat. Hari Om. And thank you all for giving me this opportunity to give this lecture.
Dhanyavadaha. It's an excellent lecture, and we're all expecting that homeopathy will be taught to us, whereas we are taught us the Vedantam, and the real Hindu philosophy, the Ayurvedam has been taught here. I think it appeared to me like that. Though you have mentioned the homeopathic medicines also, homeopathic theory is also there.
And homeopathy separately we take up. And first I want to introduce the real causation.
Yeah. So it's very excellent. That's it's a very hot, warming talk to hear that the homeopathy is also the basis is the Ayurvedic principles only.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And the basic Hindu philosophy only.
Yes.
And whatever theories of world, the ethnic religions they have, they're all based on our Sanatana Dharmic philosophies only.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Philosophies only. That's what the conclusion I understand. I request our friends, our viewers, to raise their questions or doubts or their views they want to share with us. Please welcome. Hari Om. Anybody would like to? Please, Babu, please take over and conduct the session, please.
Yeah. The platform is open. Anybody, they can open, unmute, and then ask questions, raise your hand, whatever way you want. Ramay Garu?
Yes, sir. అందరికీ నమస్కారం అండి. డాక్టర్ శాస్త్రి గారు, మీరు చాలా డీప్గా తీసుకెళ్లారు. అయితే మీరు ఇంకా ముందుకు వచ్చుంటే ఇప్పుడు ప్రస్తుతం ఏం జరుగుతున్న దాని గురించి తెలిస్తే మాకు ప్రాక్టికల్గా ఉపయోగపడే భావన అంతే. అది వేరే విషయం. మీరు కాజేషన్ గురించి నా 5 రకాల ఫిలాసఫీలో మీరు డీటెయిల్గా చెప్పారు. అంటే అఫ్కోర్స్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ఇగ్నరెన్స్ అడుగుతున్నాను. అలోపతిని మాత్రం మీరు దాన్ని చర్చించలేదు. చర్చిస్తే అది కూడా దానికి కూడా మూలం ఉందా, లేకపోతే ఓన్లీ సిమ్టమ్స్ బట్టి టెస్టులు బట్టి చేస్తారా? మన ఆయుర్వేదానికి ఉన్నట్టుగా దానికి కూడా ఏమన్నా మూలం ఉందా? అదొక్కటి మాకు క్లారిఫై చేయండి. రెండోది, ఇంకొకటి ప్రాక్టికల్ క్వశ్చన్ అడగొచ్చో అడగకూడదో నాకు తెలియదు. నేను స్టాంచ్ బిలీవర్ ఆఫ్ హోమియోపతి. లాస్ట్ 50 years ఐఎమ్ టేకింగ్ హోమియోపతి. ఐఎమ్ ఫర్మ్ బిలీవర్ అనమాట. అండ్ సో మెనీ టైమ్స్ ఐ హ్యావ్ బీన్ క్యూర్డ్, మై ఫ్రెండ్స్ హ్యావ్ బీన్ క్యూర్డ్. ఐ మీన్ వెరీ వెరీ సక్సెస్ఫుల్లీ. కానీ ఒక చిన్న ప్రాబ్లం ఏమొస్తుందంటే, మనం హోమియోపతి డాక్టర్ని మారినప్పుడు ఒక చోట నుంచి ఇంకో చోటుకి వెళ్తాము. మనకు దగ్గర ఏ రికార్డు ఉండదు, ఏ మెడిసిన్ ఇచ్చారో తెలియదు, వెళ్ళే కొత్త డాక్టర్కి ఏం చెప్పాలో తెలియదు. మనం సిమ్టమ్స్ చెప్పగలం కానీ అంతకుముందు ఏం మెడిసిన్ తీసుకున్నామో చెప్పం. అంటే ఇది నేను దోషం పట్టట్లేదు, అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ఇగ్నరెన్స్ ఐఎమ్ ఆస్కింగ్. ఈ 2 క్వశ్చన్లు కొంచెం క్లారిఫై చేస్తే బాగుంటుందని నా ప్రార్థన సార్.
అరేమండి, మంచి మంచి క్వశ్చన్. ఇది కామన్ క్వశ్చన్, చాలా మంది మాకు నా దగ్గరికి జరిగేది. మీరు మంది పేరు ఎందుకు చెప్పండి అంటారు. ఎస్, దేర్ ఈజ్
సార్ కొంచెం లౌడ్ గా చెప్పాల్సి వస్తుంది.
చెప్తానండి. హలో, మీరు వినగలుగుతున్నారా?
ఇప్పుడు బాగుందండి.
రైట్ అండి. మాకు ఈ 2 క్వశ్చన్స్ వస్తాయి. ఇందులో ఆయుర్వేపతిలో మీరు చెప్పినట్టుగా ఈ 3 గుణాలకు సంబంధించినవి ఏం లేవండి. ఒకటి, అలోపతిలో దే డు నాట్ కన్సిడర్ దేనికి అది డిసీజ్ ఫ్యాక్టర్గా. ట్యూమర్ అంటే ట్యూమర్, ఆ ట్యూమర్ని తగ్గిస్తే సరిపోతుంది, ఆ ట్యూమర్కి వస్తేనే ఆ డిసీజ్ తగ్గింది అనుకునే రకం. మేము ఆ ట్యూమర్ని కోసినంత మాత్రమే డిసీజ్ తగ్గదు, లోపల నా తత్వాన్ని తీసేయాలని చెప్పేసి మా ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్. వాళ్ళు దాన్ని అంగీకరించారనమాట. అంతకంటే అందుకని మీ 3 వాత పిత్త కఫ థియరీ కానీ, లేకపోతే మన సాత్విక రాజసిక తామసిక గుణాన్ని కానీ వాళ్ళు దాన్ని నమ్మరు. అంటే వాళ్ళ ట్రీట్మెంట్లో ఈ విషయాలు ఉండవు. డాక్టర్లు నమ్మచ్చు, కానీ వాళ్ళ ట్రీట్మెంట్లు ఇవి దాన్ని నమ్మే తగ్గట్లుగా మెడిసిన్స్ ఉండవు. అంతకంటే ఏం లేదు. ఒకటి. తర్వాత హోమియోపతిలో ఎందుకు మేము మందులు, నేను కూడా చాలామందికి హోమియోపతి మెడిసిన్ చెప్పను, కొంతమందికి చెప్తాను. ఎవరైతే ఈ మందులు చెప్తే నా మందుల్ని పూర్తిగా విశ్వసించి, అంటే ఒక పద్ధతి ఉందండి హోమియోపతిని ఇచ్చేటప్పుడు. కొన్ని డోసులు పరిమితంగానే ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది, కొన్ని డోసులు పరిమితంగా, కొన్ని అపరిమితంగా ఇవ్వాలి, కొన్ని పరిమితంగా ఇవ్వాలి. ఆ పరిమితమైన డోసులు ఏంటి, అపరిమితమైన డోసులు ఏంటి, ఆ డోసులు ఎట్లా వేసుకోవాలనేది. ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే ఒక్కోసారి పొటెన్సీస్ వేరీ అవుతుంటాయి మనిషికి. ఇప్పుడు ఫీవర్ వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, ఫీవర్కి నేను మీకు ఫెర్రఫాస్ అనే మెడిసిన్ ఇచ్చాను. మీరే అనుకుంటారు, ఓకే ఫీవర్ కంటే ఫెర్రఫాస్. ఇప్పుడు అలోపతిలో ఏమవుతుందంటే, ఓకే పారాసెటమాల్ వేస్తే అది 150 మందికి ఉంటే 150 మందికి పారాసెటమాల్ వేస్తే ఫీవర్ తగ్గుతుంది. కానీ హోమియోపతిలో ఏమవుతుందంటే, నేను ఫెర్రఫాస్ అని చెప్పి ఒకరికి ఇచ్చాను అనుకోండి, అది మీకు ఇప్పుడు పని చేయొచ్చు, కానీ మళ్ళీ రేపు ఫీవర్ వచ్చినప్పుడు అదే వేసుకున్నారనుకోండి, ఆ ఫెర్రఫాస్ పని చేయదు. ఏంటి హోమియోపతి పని చేయలేదు అనుకుంటారు. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు మీకు ఫీవర్ వచ్చిన పరిస్థితి వేరు, అప్పుడు మీకు ఫీవర్ వచ్చే పరిస్థితి వేరు. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఐస్ క్రీమ్ తింటే ఫీవర్ వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, అప్పుడే ఇంకో రకంగా బయట తిరగటం వల్ల, లేకపోతే వానలో తడవడం వచ్చింది, ఇంకోసారి ఎక్కడైనా నడుస్తుంటే పడితే వచ్చింది, లేకపోతే ఇంకోసారి ఇన్ఫెక్షన్ వల్ల వచ్చింది. వీటిలో వేరియస్ వాటికి ఒక్కోదానికి ఒక్కొక్క మెడిసిన్ ఉంటుంది. అంటే ఒక ఫీవర్ అనే దానికి వీ హ్యావ్ అబౌట్ 100 మెడిసిన్స్. ఆ 100 మెడిసిన్స్లో ఏ మెడిసిన్ ఇవ్వాలి అనేది తత్కాలానికి, ఆ కాలానికి ఏది సూటబుల్లో చూడగలిగేది డాక్టర్సే. అందుకని చెప్పేసి ఒకసారి మీకు ఫెర్రఫాస్ ఇచ్చామని చెప్పేసి ఫెర్రఫాస్ చెప్పాను అనుకోండి, మీరు ఈసారి కూడా ఫెర్రఫాస్ తగ్గలేదని, అది అంటే ఇప్పుడేంటి, మీకు అన్ని కండిషన్స్ చెప్పి అప్పుడు ఆ మెడిసిన్స్ ఇవ్వాలి. ఇగో మీకు అట్లా ఫీవర్ వస్తే ఈ మంది వేసుకోండి, ఇట్లా ఫీవర్ వస్తే ఈ మంది వేసుకోండి, ఇట్లా ఫీవర్ వస్తే ఈ మంది వేసుకోండి. ఒక ఫీవర్కి మీకు మెడిసిన్ చెప్పాలంటే 10 సార్లు. ఎందుకంటే రెండోసారి ఇప్పుడు ఒకసారి పారాసెటమాల్ తెచ్చేస్తే వాళ్ళే పారాసెటమాల్ తీసుకుంటారు. అలాగే ఫెర్రఫాస్ ప్రతిసారి తీసుకుని తగ్గదు. కాబట్టి ఇదొకటి నెంబర్ 1. నెంబర్ 2 అంటే అడగచ్చు అడగదని చెప్తున్నాను. ఇంకోటి, ఒకటి డాక్టర్లకి వాళ్ళ ఈగో వాళ్ళకు ఉంటుంది. ఐ మీన్ ఇంక్లూడ్ మీ, ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఎగ్జామ్టెడ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇట్. సో దాంట్లో ఎందుకంటే ఒకసారి మెడిసిన్ చెప్పిన తర్వాత ఆ మెడిసిన్ మీద వాళ్ళకి, అంటే నేను మామూలుగా చాలామంది రాసిస్తాను కూడా మెడిసిన్స్, కానీ కొంతమందికి నేను కూడా సీక్రెట్ మెయింటైన్ చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఎందుకంటే అవి ఒకసారి బయట పెట్టడం వల్ల ఆ మందులే మరీ వేసుకోవటం. డోసుని హోమియోపతి డోసులు ఎట్లా ఉంటాయంటే, మేము 1 ml డోస్ ఇచ్చామనుకోండి, అది మంత్లీ వన్స్ ఒక డోస్ ఇస్తూ ఉంటాం. మిగతా రోజుల్లో దానికి పనిచేసే మందులు లాంటివి ఇస్తూ ఉంటాం, అవి కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఇంప్రూవ్ చేయడానికి. అది ఒకసారి చెప్తే ఏమవుతుందంటే మందుల యొక్క మీద కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ పోతూ ఉంటుంది చాలామందికి. నేను ఒక్కోసారి ఏమి మందు లేకుండా ఒట్టి అంటే తగ్గుతూ ఉంది, మందులు అవసరం లేదు, ఆ సమయంలో మందులు ఇవ్వాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, మందులు ఇవ్వాల్సిన వాళ్ళే మందు తీసుకుంటే కానీ తగ్గదు, నాకు మందు కావాలని అంటూ ఉంటారు. మందు ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది. మేమే మందులు లేని బిళ్ళలు ఇస్తాం, అవి కూడా బాగా పనిచేస్తుంటాయి. ఎందుకంటే సైకలాజికల్గా ఎస్ వీ గివ్ ఇట్. ఎందుకంటే అది ఆ మందు వేసుకుంటే తగ్గలేదండి అంటారు వాళ్ళు. టు సాటిస్ఫై దెమ్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు గివ్. అది ఏంటంటే ఇది కంపల్సరీ. ఇట్లా కొన్ని ఉంటాయి, అట్లా చేసి అంటే ఇది మీరు అడగకూడదు అనుకున్న వాటికి నేను సమాధానం మీకు చెప్తున్నాను. బికాజ్ మనంతా మెచ్యూర్డ్ ఇప్పుడు మనం ఒకరొకరు అన్ని తెలుసుకున్న నష్టం ఏం లేదు ఈ విషయాలు, అందుకని చెప్పి చెప్తాను. అది ఒకసారి
ఒక్క లాస్ట్ లో సప్లిమెంటరీ క్వశ్చన్, రావు గారు మీ పర్మిషన్ తో. టాక్సిన్స్ బాడీలో చాలా డేంజరస్, దట్ విల్ కట్ అయిన్ ద లైఫ్ లాంగ్ అవుట్ అని అందరూ చెప్తారు. ఆ టాక్సిన్స్ ని రిమూవ్ చేయడానికి మనం ఆలోపతి డాక్టర్ అంటే అట్లాంటివి మన దగ్గర ఏముండవండి, మోస్ట్లీ ఆయుర్వేదంలోనూ హోమియోలోనూ ఉండొచ్చేమో అని అంటారు. ఎనీ మెడిసిన్ ఇస్ దేర్ సార్ టు రిమూవ్ ద టాక్సిన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ద బాడీ?
ఎస్, ఈ టాక్సిన్స్ అనేటివి ఇందులో మళ్ళీ మనం ఆలోచించాల్సింది అంటే ఏ మెడిసిన్ వల్ల టాక్సిన్ అయింది అనేది చూసుకోవాలండి. అంటే ఒక్కో మెడిసిన్కి ఒక రకమైన టాక్సిన్స్ విడుదలవుతాయి. ఆ టాక్సిన్ తగినటువంటి యాంటీడోట్ మాత్రమే ఇవ్వాలి. యాంటీడోట్ ఇచ్చినప్పుడు మాత్రమే పనిచేస్తుంది. అంటే ఒక్కో మందికి ఒక్కొక్క యాంటీడోట్ ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది. కొందరు కార్టిజన్స్ తీసుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, ఆ కార్టిజన్స్కి మేము ఒక రకమైన మందు వస్తాం. యాంటీబయాటిక్స్ తీసుకునే తినాల్సి ఒక రకమైన మందు ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఇట్లాగే వాళ్ళు తీసుకున్న మందుని బట్టి ఆ మందు విరువుడిగా ఒక మంది ఇచ్చి తర్వాత మేము హోమియోపతిగా ట్రై చేస్తాం అనమాట. ఆ మందు విరుగు తెలియాలి, ఆ మందు తెలిస్తే కానీ అది విరుగు తెలియదు. అట్లా చెప్పేసి ఒకటే స్పెసిఫిక్ మెడిసిన్గా యాంటీ టాక్సిన్స్గా లేవు మాకు. అదొకటి చెప్పండి.
రావు గారు మీరు నంబర్ కొంచెం సర్క్యులేట్ చేస్తే అందరికి ఉపయోగపడుతుందేమో.
పీపీటీలో ఉంది, వీడియోలో కూడా చూడొచ్చు. పీపీటీలో నెంబర్ ఉంది. పీపీటీ సర్క్యులేట్ ఆల్రెడీ టు ఆల్.
ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
పీపీటీలో ఉందండి, ఫస్ట్ స్లైడ్ లోనే ఉంది ఆయన నెంబర్.
ఫస్ట్ స్లైడ్ లోనా?
రాధా నాగాపురం కాలనీలో మీరు శాస్త్రీయ హోమియో అనే కొడితే మీకు ఆయన క్లినిక్ లొకేషన్ వచ్చేస్తుంది మీకు.
సరే సార్, మంచి
శాస్త్రీయ హోమియో అని కొట్టారంటే మీరు ఊబర్ లో కానీ దీంతో కానీ మీకు డైరెక్ట్ ఆయన లొకేషన్ వచ్చేస్తుంది.
మాధవి గారు చెప్పండి.
నమస్కారం అండి. యాక్చువల్లీ మా తాతగారు పుస్తకాలు చాలా రాశారు, కందుకూరి నరసింహశాస్త్రి గారు, హోమియోపతి మీద. యాక్చువల్లీ ఇప్పుడు ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చిందంటే ఆ పుస్తకాలు చాలా చాలా జీర్ణం అయిపోయి ఉన్నాయి. సో మేము బుక్స్ కొనుక్కొని చూసుకొని వేసుకోవచ్చా?
అది ఒకటండి, మీకు చూడటం వచ్చి చేత వేసుకోవచ్చు, కానీ డోసేజ్ అది చెప్పడం కష్టం అవుతుంది మీకు. ఇగో ఈ జబ్బుకి ఈ మందు ఉందని తెలుస్తుంది, కానీ ఎంత డోసేజ్ వేసుకోవాలి అనే దగ్గర కన్ఫ్యూజన్ వస్తుంది. ఎందుకంటే ఒక్కసారి డోసేజ్ ఎక్కువైనా హోమియోపతిలో ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుంది, తక్కువైనా ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుంది. అది మీరు డిసైడ్ చేసుకోగలగాలి. ఆ డిసైడ్ చేసుకునే జ్ఞానం ఉండేటైతే మీరు వేసుకోవచ్చు.
ఓకే, అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అంటే సింపుల్, ఐఎమ్ నాట్ డాక్టర్, హౌస్ వైఫ్ నేను. చిన్న దెబ్బ తగిలిందంటే ఇమీడియట్ గా ఇది వేసుకోమంటారు, ఇది ఆర్నికా వేసుకోమంటారు చీము పట్టకుండా.
మంచిది.
సో అది అంటే నేను యుఎస్ కూడా నా పిల్లలకి ఐ గేవ్ ఏ బాక్స్ అనమాట. ఇమీడియట్ గా ఎమర్జెన్సీకి ఇవి వేసుకోవాలి, జలుబుకి ఇది వేసుకోవాలి. టిల్ నౌ దే ఆర్ యూజింగ్ ఇట్. వాళ్ళు హాస్టల్స్ లో ఉంటారు, వాళ్ళు కూడా యూజ్ చేస్తారు. ఏదైనా అంటే మా అమ్మకి కాల్ చేస్తారు, అమ్మ ప్లీజ్ హెల్ప్ మీ, ఈ అమ్మమ్మ ఏంటి ఇది అని. సో షీ రిఫర్స్ ద బుక్స్ వేర్ హర్ గ్రాండ్ ఫాదర్ హ్యావ్ రిటర్న్ ఇట్, పుస్తకం రాసినవి అందులో చూసి చెప్తారు. కానీ మా దాకా వచ్చేసరికి మాకు కావాలంటే మేము అమెరికాలో ఉంటాం, సో మాకు పుస్తకాలు చూసి మేము కొనుక్కోవాలంటే యుఎస్ లో ఏమవుతుందంటే ఈ పొటెన్సీ 1 cc అని ఉంటుంది, అక్కడ మాకు తేడా వస్తుంది. 1 cc ఏంటి అని, ఇక్కడేమో ఒక చిన్నది 200 అలాగా 30 mg 30 పొటెన్సీ అని అమ్ముతారు. సో అలాగా వచ్చినప్పుడు ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది?
అట్లా అమ్ముతారు, అమెరికాలో కూడా ఉన్నాయి, అట్లాగే అమ్ముతారు, తీసుకోవచ్చు, అది కూడా వాడచ్చు. ఇంకా
అంటే సీసీకి ఇక్కడ వచ్చే పొటెన్సీకి తేడా ఏంటి?
అక్కడ సిహెచ్ అంటే సెంటిసిమల్ స్కేల్ అంటారండి. మనమే సి అనే మాట రాయం ఇక్కడ ఇండియాలో సి అనే మాట రాయం, అక్కడ రాస్తాం. అందుకంటే
ఓకే ఓకే, యా థ్యాంక్స్ అండి.
రాధిక గారు.
నమస్కారం డాక్టర్ గారు. నేను కొంచెం లేట్ గా జాయిన్ అయిన, ఆల్మోస్ట్ మీ లెక్చర్ అంతా మిస్ అయ్యాను. కానీ కొంచెం ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఎగ్జిమా కోసము చాలా బ్యాడ్ ఎగ్జిమా ఉందండి మా అమ్మాయికి. చాలా మందులు ట్రై చేశాను, అంటే హోమియో కూడా వాడాం, కానీ కొంచెం అది స్లో ప్రాసెస్ అన్నారు. సో మీరేం సజెస్ట్ చేస్తారండి?
ఎగ్జిమా అనేది ఒక రకంగా చాలా ఆ డిసీజ్ తక్కువ లేట్గా తగ్గుతుందండి. మీరు దాని మీద తొందరగా రిజల్ట్స్ ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేయకూడదు. ఒకటి నెంబర్ 1. ఎందుకంటే ఎగ్జిమా ఇస్ ద లాస్ట్ డిస్కంఫర్ట్ టు గో అవుట్ ఫ్రమ్ ద బాడీ. అందుకని అది ఏమైనా సపరేషన్ కండిషన్స్ టైం పడుతుంది, తగ్గుతుంది అయితే. కానీ ప్రాపర్గా డాక్టర్ చూపించి ట్రీట్మెంట్ తీసుకోండి.
ఓకేనండి. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇది పిల్స్ ఫామ్ బాగా ఎఫెక్టివ్ అంటారా, లిక్విడ్ ఫామ్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ గా ఉంటుంది అంటారా అండి ఏ హోమియోపతి మెడిసిన్స్ లో? రెండు ఒకటేనా అండి?
రెండు ఒకటే. నేను అసలు ఐ ప్రిఫర్ ఓన్లీ పిల్స్.
ఓకేనండి. అదే గురుగారు సార్ మాకు షేర్ చేస్తా అన్నారు మీ నంబరు, ఒకసారి మీ కన్సల్టేషన్ కూడా చేస్తాను, నేను తీసుకొస్తాను మా పాప. ధన్యవాదాలు.
పీపీటీలో ఉందమ్మా, పీపీటీలో చూడండి, మీరు వీడియో చూడండి.
గురుగారు పీపీటీలోకి రాలేదండి, గ్రూప్ లో రాలేదండి. గ్రూప్ లో పెట్టారండి?
గ్రూప్ లో పెట్టాను, చూడండి. లేకపోతే వీడియో చూడండి.
అదే వీడియో వింటాను, నేను మిస్ అయ్యాను.
యూట్యూబ్ లో వీడియో వస్తుంది, వీడియో రాగానే ఫస్ట్ స్లైడ్ ఇస్ దట్ వన్.
ఓకే, మంచిది గురుగారు, ధన్యవాదాలండి.
మురళీమోహన్
మురళీమోహన్ గారు అడగండి.
మురళి.
హలో గురుగారు, నమస్కారం అండి. 5 hours కంటిన్యూ చేసుకోవచ్చు, వేసుకోకూడదా?
5 hours ఇప్పుడు దేనికని ఏ కంప్లైంట్స్
నార్మల్ గా జనరల్ గా వీక్నెస్ ఉందనుకోండి, వాళ్ళు
వీక్నెస్ కావాలి జనరల్ గా వాడచ్చు కొన్నాళ్ళు, 1 month 2 months వాడి ఆపేసేయచ్చు. దానికి స్పెసిఫిక్ అంటే పర్లేదు, కానీ లేకపోతే అది మీకు బాగా వీక్ అనుకుంటే వేసుకొని కొన్నాళ్ళు, తర్వాత ఆపేసేయండి.
ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే, థ్యాంక్స్.
ప్రివెంటివ్ మెడికేషన్ గురించి ఏం సలహా చెప్తారు శాస్త్రి గారు?
ప్రివెంటివ్ మెడికేషన్ ఈజ్ గుడ్ అండి. మేము ఆల్రెడీ ఎక్కడైనా వైరల్ ఫీవర్స్ కానీ అవన్నీ వచ్చేటప్పుడు మేము ప్రివెంటివ్ గానే ఇస్తాం మెడిసిన్స్ అండి. వీ గో దేర్ అండ్ వీ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ మెడిసిన్స్. అది ప్రివెన్షన్ అంటే హోమియోపతిలో ఈ ఎపిడమిక్ డిసీజ్ మంచి మెడిసిన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. అండ్ మళ్ళీ కండిషన్ బట్టేసి ఒక్కొక్క ఎపిడమిక్ ఫీవర్కి ఒక్కొక్క రకమైన మెడిసిన్ ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఆ ఎపిడమిక్ డిసీజెస్ని బట్టి మొన్న మాకు దీంట్లో చాలా మంది ఈ కరోనా వాటిలో కూడా మేము హోమియోపతి మెడిసిన్ ఇచ్చిన వాళ్ళకి బాగానే రెస్పాన్స్ వచ్చింది చాలా కేసెస్. అంటే 1-2 సివియర్ కేసెస్ పోయినాయేమో కానీ కొన్ని కేసెస్లో బాగానే రెస్పాన్స్.
నేను ఆర్షన్ కాలం 30 years గా అమెరికా వచ్చాను. సివియర్ కోవిడ్
ప్రివెంటివ్ ఇచ్చాము. అది ప్రివెంటివ్ గా అందరికి ఆర్సీ కాల్ ఇచ్చాము మేము. అది బాగానే పనిచేస్తుంది చాలా మందికి.
అది వేసుకునే నేను అమెరికా వచ్చాను 2020.
అదే
మార్చి టైంలో.
అవునవును, అదే ఆర్సీ కాల్ ఇచ్చాం ప్రివెంటివ్ గా దానికి. అది బాగానే పనిచేస్తుంది. అలాగే అన్ని మన బ్రెయిన్ ఫీవర్ అని మొట్టమొదటిలో ఈ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కానీ మొత్తం ఇండియాలోని మా గ్రూప్ ఒకటి ఉంది. మేము ఈ హోమియోపతి ప్రివెంటివ్ మెడిసిన్ ఒకటి తయారు చేసి ఇచ్చాము. అది బ్రెయిన్ ఫీవర్కి బ్రహ్మాండంగా పనిచేస్తుంది. 83 నుంచి 90 దాకా బ్రెయిన్ ఫీవర్ వాజ్ ఏ థ్రెటనింగ్ డిసీజ్ టు ఆల్ చిల్డ్రన్. అప్పుడు మేము చాలా చట్టపోయి డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేసే మెడిసిన్స్ వేల కొద్ది పేషెంట్లకు ఇచ్చాము. అది చాలా బాగా ఇంప్రూవ్ అయినారు. వాళ్ళకి ఎవరికి రాలేదు కూడా. మేము ఎక్కడ బ్రెయిన్ ఫీవర్ ప్రివిలెంట్ ఉందో అక్కడికి పోయి కూడా చూసాము. అలాగే మన స్వైన్ ఫ్లూ అని చెప్పేసి వచ్చింది. స్వైన్ ఫ్లూ కూడా బాగా హెల్ప్ చేస్తాయి మాకు.
ఇంకొక కొంచెం హర్టింగ్ క్వశ్చన్. ఎల్లోపతికి ఎలాగైతే కమర్షియల్ అయిపోయి మోసం చేస్తుందో అలా హోమియోపతి ఆయుర్వేదం కూడా అలా అయిపోతుందేమో అని అనుమానం ఉంది. నిజమేనంటారా?
నిజమే. చెప్పాలి నిజమే. అంటే అంటే వాళ్ళు డబ్బులు సంపాదించాలి. డబ్బులు మొదలు పడ్డ తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు పాజిటివ్ హోమియోపతి, డైనమిక్ హోమియోపతి, పాజిటివ్ హోమియోపతి ఇట్లాంటివన్నీ మా హోమియోపతి మేము తిట్టుకోకూడదు. దే ఆర్ గుడ్ అండ్ అంటే ఓకే, వాళ్ళ ప్రొఫెషన్లో దే వాంట్ ఇంప్రూవ్ లైక్ దట్. అంటే అఫ్కోర్స్ మేము ఏజ్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత మాకు అవసరం లేదు. మేము చదువుకునే అవసరం ఉన్నప్పుడు అంత అవసరం పట్టలేదు. మేము కొద్దిగా మానవతా విలువగా వెళ్ళాల్సి వచ్చేది. ఇప్పుడు బాగా కమర్షియల్ అయింది. దాన్ని తప్పు పట్టలేకపోతున్నాం కూడా అండి. ఎందుకంటే మేము కూడా వాళ్ళలాగా ఛార్జ్ చేయాలి అనేది అంటేనే బాధ వేస్తుంది. కానీ ఛార్జ్ చేయకపోతే వీడియో డాక్టర్ అనేట్టుగా తయారైంది మాపది. అట్లా ఉంది.
గ్యాలక్సీ అంటే ఎవరండి? గ్యాలక్సీ M12.
నమస్తే అండి, నా పేరు రమేష్ అండి, కటరింగ్.
రమేష్.
ఇది శశి గారు, నేను కూడా లేట్ జాయిన్ అయ్యాను. నాకు నేను ఒకరికి ఫుడ్ సప్లై చేస్తాను. ఒక లేడీ, ఓల్డ్ లేడీ, 75 years ప్లస్. తను రాలేని పొజిషన్ లో ఉన్నారు. సపోజ్ షీ వాంట్స్ కన్సల్టేషన్, కెన్ ఐ హావ్ వీడియో కాల్? తనకి స్కాల్ప్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది. స్కాల్ప్ లో సోరియాసిస్ అట్లాంటిది ఏం లేదు, కానీ థిక్ హెయిర్ అన్ని బానే ఉన్నాయి. బట్ సైకలాజికల్ గా ఉన్న ఫీలింగ్ చేస్తున్నా లేదు తెలియదు. పెయిన్ తీస్తారు కదా దువ్వెన, దాంతో అంత
ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుంది.
తను ఫీల్ అవుతుంది. కానీ యూ వోంట్ ఫైండ్ ఎనీ వూండ్ ఆర్ సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్.
సెన్సిటివ్ గా ఉంటుంది స్కాల్ప్.
హలో,
సెన్సిటివ్ గా ఉంటుంది స్కాల్ప్, బాగా సెన్సిటివ్ గా ఉంటుంది స్కాల్ప్.
సెన్సిటివ్ అని కాదు, కానీ అసలు ఎట్లా అంటే ఎప్పుడు యాక్చువల్గా ఏం అక్కడ మనకు కనిపించేది ఏముండదు, కానీ తనకు దొరుకుతున్న ఆ ఫీలింగ్ ఉంటుంది. దానివల్ల ఇక్కడ అన్ని ఆయింట్మెంట్స్ కానీ అదే షాంపూస్ అవన్నీ ఉంటాయి కదా. ఈవెన్ ఇక్కడ లోకల్ హోమియోపతిలో కూడా తీసుకెళ్ళాను నేను. అంటే వాళ్ళు వచ్చి హోమ్ విజిట్ రారు, తన్ని తీసుకెళ్లే పొజిషన్ లేదు. ఈవెన్ నార్మల్ అలోపతి డాక్టర్స్ దగ్గర కూడా అదే పొజిషన్ ఉండింది. వాళ్ళు వీడియో కాల్
మాట్లాడతాను. ముందుగా ఫోన్ చేయండి.
Okay, anybody else? If not, then we'll try to close this with Prarthana and Janaganamana. So let's have Prarthana. I think you will do Prarthana.
Sastry.
I do Prarthana and then let's do Janaganamana. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, do you hear me, Anna? I think he is not there. Let us do Prarthana and we will sing Janaganamana. Andi Sastry garu. Okay. అర్థం చేస్తారా?
బాబు గారు చేయమంటారా?
చేయండి.
ఓం సహనావతు సహనౌ భునక్తు సహ వీర్యం కరవావహై తేజస్వినావతీతమస్తు మా విద్విషావహై. ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి. సర్వే వై సుఖినః సంతు సర్వే సంతు నిరామయాః సర్వే భద్రాణి పశ్యంతు మా కశ్చిద్ దుఃఖభాగ్ భవేత్. ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి. ఓం తత్సత్ బ్రహ్మార్పణమస్తు.
ధన్యవాదాలు. ధన్యవాదాలు సత్యవతి మహోదయ. Now let us do Janaganamana and then close. Janaganamana
Vinayak
Bharat Bhagya
Vidhata
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड चल गंगा हिंद हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्तर चलति तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 जय
Jai Hind.